All right, good morning, everybody. You're tuned in to UniverSOUL right here, only here with the Queen, Lady AC. Of course, what you're hearing playing under me is my bed music for the last time for this month, because it's for the month of September. This is the one and only Jay Dilla with Much More, classic instrumental that he made for De La Soul. With their song is called Much More. So I hope you've been enjoying this hump day soul therapy, because I'm trying to get y'all ready for today. Because once you get over this hump, you get back to the weekend. But for right now, of course, we're going to enjoy this moment, as I always say. You're going to enjoy it with me. So yes, I want to give you a run back of the music you just heard to get you excited, get you ready, get your energy right. Of course, before my bed music, I gave you new music by Raphael Sadiq, and that joint was called So Ready. Before that, I gave you a nice little female collaboration right there, Miss Ella Ray, Banks and Ranks, featuring Kiana Ledi, and that was their collaboration called Mama. And I ain't gonna lie, I love that song. For one, it has high energy, nice little island vibe, but just nice little bounce to it. I love it. Once again, never met any significant other's mother that ride for me that hard, but hey, maybe one day it'll happen. But either way, I love that song. Before that, I gave you Toby Nwenji, featuring the new Respects, and that was their collaboration called Hella Black, because I stayed at, so I had to interject that in there. We gotta stay hella black nowadays, 24/7, but especially nowadays. But just a reminder. Before that, I gave you Miss Coffee, who blew up over the summer, and that was the song Rapture, but I gave you the remix featuring an independent artist by the name of Gavanna. So love that energy that they bring to it. Before that, I gave you new music, or the latest joint from Mr. Alan Stone, and that was his song called Sunny Days. He's doing a lot of live covers of his music, which I love, so that was the live version of his song called Sunny Days. Before that, I gave you Tori Kelly, and that was the song called Change Your Mind. Before that, I threw it back a little bit to the we'll say 2000 teens, early 2000 teens. Gave you John Legend with Heaven. Then before that, I gave you the latest single, or one of my favorites, from Moonchild, who dropped their album just recently. And they're coming to Atlanta in October, so hey. But that was their song, Moonchild, once again, with Onto Me. And that's how I got y'all right in this soul therapy. So I hope you guys got the musical therapy from that, to get you ready, get you prepared. Get you prepared for this new season, let alone, just today, on into the weekend. So shout out to everybody who just tuned in or watching me on Facebook Live. Shout out, hey y'all. As y'all slowly, wake up and tune in, because I definitely do appreciate that you do. So yes, I do. So today's title has been called Fall Back and Keep That Same Energy. Reason it's called that is that we are officially in the fall season, autumn season. So of course, with a new season means a new energy is coming through, a new vibe, a new perspectives that are coming and awakening and coming to us, as every single kind of brings. And like I said, like I've been saying throughout the show, even if you're not that really big on energies and space and anything like that, or if you're new to them, it just ultimately, with new seasons brings change. it brings new circumstances, it brings new obstacles, it brings new triumphs, it brings a whole bunch of things. But at least, the more you dive deep and grow into them and learn from them, you realize, that is energy surface using the coming at us, to prepare us ultimately for, all the things that we want to achieve or we want to find within ourselves to become more of who we are ultimately. But of course, with life, of course, that can be both positive and negative and even neutral, because when it comes just basics on energy, energy can come three ways: positive, negative, and neutral. Because it can't be shut off, it can't be put to the side, it can't be deterred, it can't be destroyed. It simply is positive, negative, neutral. That's it. And either way it turns, it's always going to just be neutral. It depends on how we use it, or how, when we interact with it, how we can use it. Do we use it, the negative energy, turn it positive? Do we turn the positive to negative? And, and so on and so forth. So just a simple kind of explanation on energy right there. So with new seasons especially, that's when the universe itself, or the energies around us, or everything around us, the seasons itself, brings in a new usher kind of feeling. Or usher in, a new kind of feeling. And with that, it comes with many different layers. So with the fall season, I think it was definitely very important to talk about it. So just to give a recap for all the people tuning in, talking about what to expect with this new energy coming in. So with this particular fall energy, it's definitely, as far as the positive goes, the ultimate goal with this energy that's coming in is we're definitely going to see a lot of love. Then we're going to see a lot of blessings and a lot of abundance coming to us. But in receiving those, we're going to come up a lot of, what's the best way I can describe it? A lot of pain, a lot of our past traumas, our baggage, wounds, healing, everything that needs to heal, that's going to start to come up now. Those are starting to come up. Definitely going to start feeling more anxiety, vulnerability. Definitely going to be big this season, because with your being aware, being aware of your feelings, being aware of, like I said, the issues behind you and all those things, or that you're working on or you need to work through. With them coming to you, it's going to start to affect your mood. And it's going to start to affect you, like I said throughout the show, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But it definitely mentally. Now, what's very unique about the fall season with this energy and with the things that are going to experience is that at the same time you will experience both negative and positive at the same time. So at the same time, you're feeling, the love, you're feeling the joy, the abundance, the triumphs, the balance, the search for that. You're also going to have a lot of fatigue, restless nights, like I said, vulnerability, a lot of challenges, but they're both going to be happening at the same time. So because of that, it can feel very heavy. It can be feeling very weighing, or as I say, with fall, of course, with the fall season, the time starts to change, so you start to feel heavier. It starts to get darker, literally. So because of that, it can have a very, 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 very major effect on you. Like I said, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But during the fall season, I thought it was very important, because that's when you start to see a lot of more conversations, especially in fall and winter seasons. You start to see a lot of conversations about mental health start to come up. Because with the changes, with the heaviness, it can start to affect you and really lean on your mental health a lot. So I've been encouraging people throughout the show, is that this is definitely time this week, leading into this week. Get your support systems together, reconnect with people, start reaching out to friends, start getting those conversations, getting those day plans ready. If you're into crystals, get your crystals ready. If you're praying, get your prayers ready. because you're going to definitely need something to keep you balanced, keep you structured, because with the weight of all this that is coming with, like I said, both positive and negative, it can be a lot to handle on your own. Not saying that you can't handle it, but it can easily persuade you to feel like it's too much, like a lot is going on, like there's so much that you underneath and that you can't handle, and that is really going to push you to the point to where you start to question, where you start to overanalyze, where you start to hold yourself accountable, where you start to do a lot of things like that. Start to be aware, start questioning. And if especially your mentality is easily swayed to be more on the negative side, which the fall typically tends to do, it can make you feel, you start to succumb to that. So I definitely want to encourage everybody, definitely use your support system. Get those, if you take therapy, get them therapy sessions lined up. Start reaching out to your therapist, start reaching those doctor's appointments, get them ready to keep, so you can have a productive fall in order to receive the abundance, the blessings that we ultimately been asking for. Now, the reason we're going through this is like I said for a while, but I'll reiterate again, is that it's very, I really do believe, honestly, that everything that we ask out of life, everything that we want to achieve, we are ultimately set up to receive it. And so throughout life, we are given tools, challenges, situations to help us prepare to receive all of that. And it's up to us to, learn those lessons, to battle through those, to learn, unlearn, do all that various process along with other help or other resources in order to become the people to receive everything that we're asking for. Because you don't want to either, sabotage it or self-sabotage your own blessings. Basically, you want to be prepared for your blessings. You want to be prepared for your reality, for everything that you love, everything that you like, everything that you're going through. You want to be very prepared for that. So, but what I've been talking about the show, and it has raised some concerns for me, is that I saw two stories that really caught my attention on how, with this heaviness that is coming through, if it's not unchecked, if you do kind of succumb to that, this situations happen. So the last hour I talked about independent artist by the name of Cupcake. If anybody's really big on independent music, especially hip hop, she's definitely one of the female MCs that was doing her thing. Really big. I played her music on my show before. I think maybe earlier when I first started. I played a lot of her stuff. But she recently took to social media to be very candid about the mental health issues that she was experiencing, to where it got to the point where she doesn't want to do music anymore. That she said that she was taking all her music off of major platforms, that she was retiring from the industry, and the reason was because she felt that due to the over-sexualization of her lyrics, of how she had to present herself, that she lost herself. That she didn't know who she was. And on that part, and then on another end, to see the very words that she's using, and to see, because she really kind of consider herself, somewhat role model for children, especially young girls. So to see young girls on up to women my age sing her lyrics that are very heavily sexually suggestive, heavily all these ways, it made her feel some kind of way. It made her feel very terrible that to hear someone 12, 11, 13, 14, and so on and so forth like that, saying, do me, bend me over, all these different kind of things, love me, love me, love me. Of course, I'm changing the words to be more radio appropriate, but to say things like that, and that it's coming from my work, it's coming from my words, and they're influenced by me. That took a mental toll on her. Once again, it made me remind, like I said, with a lot of baggage, with a lot of self-awareness, with a lot of things with this energy bringing, it's going to make you question a lot of your decisions. It's going to make you rethink over a lot of situations that you've been through. Decisions you wish you should have made, or you could have made, or you should have done, or you would have done, or all these things. And realize that, for one, your feelings are valid. And like I said, I do validate her feelings. and understand, especially as a woman in the hip hop industry, how we pressure hip hop artists, especially female hip hop artists, in order for them to make it. They have to be the sexual. They have to show booty, butt, hips. But then the irony of it, they get criticized for it. And they get stereotyped into these overly sexualized beings that once again are exploited and used, and ultimately can hurt, can lose themselves. And it's very easy, with that being said, like I said, with these heavy energies coming with this fall, it's going to be very, I don't like to say easy, but it's very common, or it won't be unusual for you to get into a groove where you feel like you're losing yourself. But I want to reassure you that it's just the heaviness of these transitions. It has nothing to do with who you are personally, how you work personally, how you are, your character, nothing like that. It's just simply your space, your mentality, your emotions literally moving you to mature you, to prepare you for you to receive the full abundance that you ultimately deserve. But don't get caught in such a negative that you block that by feeding into or succumbing to that negative energy. So be mindful of that. And once again, I send prayers out to her, her family, her team, everybody around her. I hope if she ever hears this, honey, you have a beautiful support system. You have people that support you. So I hope you, get that help and guidance that you need. But another story that really, really shook me and made me feel some kind of way when we talk about mental illness, especially in the fall season and the changes, is how when that does go unchecked and that you succumb to it, how if it's not checked by you, it starts to spill out to other people. And we saw that earlier this week in New York, I think. It just to reiterate, if anybody didn't hear about it, so there was a video that went viral of this young girl fighting for her life to crawl herself from under a train track. Situation was, according to the story news that broke in New York earlier this week, a man and his child, basically taking his child, obviously suffering from depression and anxiety and all those different ways, became very suicidal, and with his young 5-year-old, 6-year-old daughter in tow, jumped off their transit platform into a moving train, and it struck him and the child. And miraculously, while unfortunately the father perished, the child survived and was able to crawl from under the train, and with the help of some good Samaritans that saw the incident, or unfortunately who witnessed the incident, were able to help her from under the train and onto the platform to where she was reunited with her mother and all those things. Now, what is so very hurting and interesting about that situation is how, they interviewed the mother about it, and they interviewed the mother about her husband. I think they were husband, the father of the child, and she said he suffered from mental illness and suffering and pain and all those different ways that ultimately on this certain day he chose to take his life. But the fact that he had his child with him, he chose to take this child along with him. And it bothered me for so many reasons, because I looked at it as a perspective of the child. Because the problem is, when it comes to suicidal people, or anybody who ever experienced suicide, it's not the fact that you want to die. That literally is like the last thing you think of being suicidal. You don't think about the death itself. What you want is, you want the pain, you want the tiredness, you want the anxiety, you want that emotional pain to stop. And it's like nothing you do stops it. Nothing can stop it. And at that point, you just feel like, it'll make it easier on me, and make it easier on myself, and make it easier on my life and everybody around me if I just don't exist no more. But in these situations, sometimes that spills over and to the people around you. And what I say is the fact that he had his young daughter in tow and was willing to risk to take both of their lives was very telling, because, and this is just a theory, because at the end of the day, I'm not this, I'm not this guy. I don't know his perspective. I don't know his life. I don't know what all he's been through. But what I feel is that, and it's just me, the reason he jumped with her is because mentally, for two things. I think he didn't want to die alone. I do too, because there is a fear of that does occur. Cause attempt suicide, that's usually you and just you taking your life, and that itself can be scary, more than the actual death itself. So you want to take, or you wish to have somebody with you. But the other thing is to use as, you don't want the child to suffer, or you don't want the loved one to suffer without you. So it's easier, and that was coming from the mind of someone suicide, it's easier to just take both of your lives, so they won't have to worry about that. They won't have to live without you not being there, because they'll be there with you. And I think that mentally is what going through his mind, and that kind of angered me, because in that sense, that kind of shows the selfishness of holding that child back. Because you let your judgment cloud you so much, your pain hold you so much, that you're willing to automatically choose the mental state of your child. Because what really hurts me is, what really got me was from the perspective of the child, like the healing that she has to do from surviving this. The healing that she has to understand about mental health and the backlash that she has to grow and change, and the conversation she had to have when she mentally develops to start to comprehend what happens. They did show her later, that when they reunited with her mother, they gave her toys and she was smiling and all these different ways. But that kind of trauma, that's going to show up. And it made me feel like how we as individuals, especially when we start to transition into people who want to have children and all those things, how we start to kind of dictate their mentalities. How we start to dictate how we feel, because of how we project our feelings, our emotions, our situations onto them. And that tends to what happens when you don't deal with all the issues that happen with you. When you don't embrace the pain, when you don't embrace, like I said, the trials and stipulations, is that when you don't do that, it starts to spill over and starts to affect other people. And unfortunately, in some cases, you start to project that onto others. Now, with that being said, now, once again, not demonizing anybody for, suicidal, mental illness or anything, but there is an accountability on our part to hold our own selves up. And if we don't have that support, we do have that duty to ourselves to get that help, to get that access, to get that, we have that option to get us together, to get us right. And I'm very aware it's hard for some people to get those resources. It's very hard for people to get that connection. It's very hard for people to get, the mental health or all those things. But as people surrounding, this is where I want the support system, such as the wives, such as the mothers, such as the adults. Because I think we putting too much for children to deal with. We're making kids, teens, people who aren't mentally mature yet handle adult situations, and we're putting them and we're expecting them to do that. When it's not their job, it's ours. As the adults, it's our job to handle us first. It's no one else's responsibility to handle what's going on inside of us but you. There's nothing else. And I think it's very unfair to start putting children in those situations. And that situation kind of reminded me of. And so thinking about the fall season, and like I said, mental health, is that ultimately the responsibility of healing yourself is up to you. ultimately, that is who is responsible for your mental health, for your physical health, for your emotional health, for everything that you achieve, everything that you don't. The main sole person who is responsible for that is you. And what is selfish is when you project that onto others and expecting them to help you. Now, you can ask for help, you can reach out for help. That's one thing. But when you expect, because people around you, that's their job to fix you, no. That's the problem. And I think we do that a little bit too much. From my perspective, we do that a little bit too much for children. Especially my black and brown children are definitely put in that position a lot. And I think we have to check that. But that's a little bit more of a different conversation. But ultimately, I say all that to say is that in this fall season, definitely be mindful. Look for signs. Look for the signs of someone who isn't acting of themselves, who isn't losing self. Look within yourself. Are you acting how you normally act? Are you viewing yourself how you normally view yourself? Are you pulling away? Are you doing too much? Are you excessive? Do you start to feel iffy, but you can't really describe the feeling, but you know there's something different, or you know there's something unbalanced? Those are your warning signs. So definitely, I urge everyone, definitely in this fall season, to be aware, to be mindful, to do the work. But ultimately, by doing so, and ultimately receive all the greatness that is offered and that is willing and that is fulfilling to come to you. Okay? And one last bit before I go, because I know I done ran over, because you are tuned in to WRFG Atlanta. One last thing. With it being fall, that means Halloween is coming up. Woo! And that whole energy with October, and next week will be a new month. I was told this, and I ain't gonna lie, I did kind of look a little like, what you mean by that? But with this new energy, how hard it hits this week, and with these news stories coming out with people, from independent artists to average people being affected mentally, I want to put this caution out to everyone. The very last week of October, be very, very careful with your movements. For everybody watching me on Facebook Live, listening to me live now, the very last week of October, please mind your movements, mind your energies, mind your mental, if you can. Okay? I'm just gonna say that. Alright, well, that is it for me, y'all. And the Queen is signing off. Coming up next is Good Morning Blues, right here, only here on WRFG Atlanta. And I'm only telling you this because, hey, if you haven't heard it today or any time up to this point, I love you and I want the best for you. So let's keep this mental health, this emotional health, all this stuff together, because we ultimately deserve everything that we ask for. Alright, y'all. Till next week. Alright. The Queen is out. We do that. And let me go get him. Get this guy that's been waiting. But yes, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in and watching. Whew. If you message me, because I think I got some messages as well, I'm going to check them when I get together. But thank y'all so much. Please like, share, post, all this, comment, whatever you feel. I definitely appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Please take care of yourselves mentally this season. Please do. Especially in this fall. So, till then, bye y'all.